do it because we're doing it well. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to your favorite podcast. Riffin with Griffin, yeah. Whoa, whoa, yeah, yeah. Riffin with Griffin. Riffin with Griffin, yeah. Whoa, 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 yeah. Riffin with Griffin, baby. Welcome back to Riffin with Griffin, episode 340. Still going strong, small but mighty. Today, NFL playoffs. Homeownership. Is it everything it's cracked up to be? I'm going to tell you what's happening there. Plus, I saw this great debate on C-SPAN about gender. Let's talk about it. You know, and here we go. Welcome back. Riffin with Griffin. Riffin with Griffin. Riffin with Griffin, yeah. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Yeah. Anyways, welcome back to Riffin with Griffin. I'm your host, Erik Griffin. I'm here every single frickin' week. Well, actually, I shouldn't even say that. I'm not here every single week, but I'm here most weeks. So, you know, thanks for being here. Make sure you sub. You know what I mean? You got to sub. Because when you sub, you're going to know when I go live, or you're going to know when I have a new video up. So make sure you check that out. Twitch. Make sure you check me out on Twitch. Okay, so make sure you do that. And as always, Patreon people, I appreciate you guys for your support. Be a Patreon-y. Oni. So here we are, Riffin with Griffin, back again. First up, oops. I just want to say, let me go back to this because I wanted to show you some stuff. You know, I got some dates coming up. You know, we're going to be live certain places. Erik Griffin with Griffin, the terrible website is still going strong, but let's look at these dates. I already did the Covina date. That's done. I'm going to be this weird place, Circus Street. It's like during a festival that's coming up on the 24th in Iowa. But then the 25th of January, I'm going to be at the Funny Bone in Omaha, Nebraska. Funny Bone, Omaha, Nebraska. Guys, get your tickets because, you know, they don't think I'm going to get anybody to come there. So let's prove them wrong. Riffin with Griffin. Fans and you love my comedy, come on out and let's do that. You know what I mean? So come check me out there. And then I got some other dates coming on. Bakersfield. This is Important Cruise. That's coming up. I'm gonna be on that. Then later in the year. And I keep adding to it. Like I booked a mothership for October. That means I'll be on Kill Tony on the 12th. Comedy Club in Connecticut. I got a lot of stuff coming up. So make sure you guys check me out there. Go to ericgriffin.com for the dates. All right? So check me out there. But here we are, Riffin with Griffin back again. Wolf's second birthday is coming up. He's going to be 2 years old. It's just, man, it's amazing, man. I don't know if you're a dad out there, you dads out there, but there is something really spectacular about being a dad. I wish I could put my... I don't know. It's hard to even. It's amazing. I'm tired right now because I was like running around with him outside. You got to keep doing it because he just wants to keep going. He's like, come on, Daddy, go. And I'm like, okay. You know what I mean? So that's a nightmare. I got to get in better shape. I'm trying, man. And here's another thing too now. I know if you're fans of the show, you've been watching the show. I'm doing a movie right now, and I had talked about it before, and then I got something about like, hey, don't talk about it. But then I look online, and everybody that's in the movie, it's been announced. They got a deadline article for everybody in this movie. And then, so I was like, I'm talking to my managers, and I say, well, why is everybody that's in this movie is public, except for me? Then they were like, oh, okay, we talked to the publicist, and it's like, okay, whatever, we're going to announce it. So, I'm announcing it for me again. You guys have already know, but I'm in this Pedro Pascal movie, y'all. It's called Behemoth. So yeah, I said it. I said it before and I took it out of my podcast. Shit, I'm saying it now. We did it. Nobody watches this anyway. So, but just for my loyal fans, just so you know, you probably already know, but I'm telling you people that didn't know, that's what I'm doing. I'm out here in this, out in these Hollywood streets. I got a 9 a.m. call time tomorrow, so I got, I'm excited about that. But anyways, whatever, we're doing it. So I got like 3 more days on the movie, so we'll see what's going on there. You know what I mean? And then, and then they said they're they're adding you to the IMDb, and I'm like, okay. So I check every day, and it's like it's not there. I'm like, what's going on? Where am I at? But I tell you what, though, you go to my IMDb. I was looking at my IMDb, and I was like, damn, I've been in some stuff, huh? Daddy been? Yeah, I'm still not on this. Everybody, there's people on the IMDb for this movie that were just extras. I'm like, what? They got extras on here, but it's a pretty good movie, man. Some good people in this. So, Daddy will be on the thing soon, but if not, it is what it is. But yeah, I don't know. I went to, you know what? We should just do that. Can I flex a little for myself? Look and see. Because everybody's always talking shit like, oh, Griffin, you don't know your career. Like, what are you doing with your career, bro? And I'm like, what are you talking about? All right, let's see. Let's see what I'm known for. Oh, here's my credits, y'all. Let's go. You know what? Let's go to it. Let's go to it, baby. Erik Griffin IMDb credits. So let's see what I've done. So what's coming out. This is wrong. It says upcoming Bucktown. No, I did that. That was like, I don't know why that's still there, but that was a pilot I did. It didn't get picked up, but whatever. Easy Waltz. Yeah, baby. That movie's about to come out, I think. I had very little part in that, but I had a little part in it. That's one of these like artsy fartsy movies. Let's see. Al Pacino. Let's see. Who else is in this? This is actually a good movie, y'all. Look at this. Al Pacino, Vince Vaughn, Shane Gillis, Simon Rex. Check out there, Erik Griffin. Shania Twain is in this. Damn. You know what I mean? So, look at Daddy doing stuff. Then I did Topper. That was a movie I did. Yeah, Brian Callen was in that. And it's about a comic. It's a good movie. Then I did 4 episodes of Universal Cable Guy. Huh, guys? I was a voice in a Fox show. Yeah, y'all didn't know that, huh? Everything Pot just did that movie 2 years ago now. Private Eye, this crazy movie I did with Matt Rife. Wine Club, another crazy movie. Did an episode of Minx. Oh, shit. Look at this dude. 10-Year-Old Tom. Did 20 episodes of 10-Year-Old Tom. And that was in 2023. People act like I don't do shit. All right. Did an episode of The Lopez Show. I don't even know what this fragrant night. I don't even know what that is. Somewhere in Queens. Movie, what's his name? Ray Romano movie. Val, a horror movie I was in. Hero Mode. That's a movie I did with Bobby Lee. Guest House. That's a movie I did with Pauly Shore. Daddy got credits, y'all. Daddy got credits. Sleepover, a Netflix movie. Bad Therapy. That's a movie with Alicia Silverstone. Did that movie. Sports TV. Not sure what that was. 9 episodes of that. Did I do that? Okay. Murder Mystery. Y'all know Murder Mystery. Me and Adam Sandler. International Falls. Little artsy movie I did. Airplane Mode. You know what, guys? Airplane Mode is on Prime. It's a Logan Paul movie. I never watched it, but I watched it, some of it the other day because I wanted to see my parts. I was like, it's not as terrible as I thought it was. It's terrible, but it's not as terrible as I thought it was. Electric Love, another little movie I did. Alone Together, I did an episode of that. I'm Dying Up Here, 20 episodes of I'm Dying Up Here. What else? Furlough, another movie I did. Had a little part in that. Let's see what else I got here. Oh my God, 2017. This movie right here is called Fatties. Take Down the House. That movie is never coming out. Please God, I hope it never comes out. Workaholics, 44 episodes of Workaholics. Hello. Did One Day at a Time. I did Bob's Burger. I did 7 episodes of Blunt Talk. What else? This is another cartoon I did. 3 episodes was a cartoon. God damn, look at this. Look at this. Look at I was on Franklin and Bash, y'all. Daddy doing stuff. People always talking smack, you know? You know what I mean? People always talking smack, baby. Daddy's out here. Yeah, Tony Gilroy is he's the showrunner of Andor. He wrote Michael Clayton and he wrote all of the Bourne Identities. So pretty good dude. You know, he casted me in this movie, and I got a nice little part, y'all. So I can't wait for like it to be official, you know, on IMDb or whatever. But it's like, you know, just so you know, Daddy is doing that. So you know, we out here doing what we do, baby, baby. Let's see. So, all right, we talked about that already. So let's, you know what? Let me just show you. Let's do these comments, man. I don't always do it, but you know, let's do some comments. Somebody said, "Love you, Griff, but why do you put a H in Panthers? It's Panthers. What do I always say? Panthers. I think I do say Panthers, huh? I say Panthers. Maybe it's a lip thing. I don't know. Whatever." People say, Leviathan said, "Do you ever play RPG or story-based games?" No, they're so boring. I can't stomach it. I need action. You know what I mean? I need my brain clicking. I don't know. I just don't like those kind of games. I used to, but not anymore. Somebody said, I mean, before he got caught, if they put dinosaurs on Epstein Island, would we have known about it? I don't know. It's a good question. What if Epstein Island was Jurassic Park? Is that the question? Weird. Somebody said, Rich Little Royalty said you should bust out singing on the golden hour, blow their minds. We do that all the time. Chris hates when I sing because he wants to be the singer guy. Whatever. Just, yeah, there was one good one I wanted to read, but whatever. Oh, somebody said, Eric, my daughter turns 2 in January. Always thinking to myself, she will never be 1 year old again. Yeah, I think about that too. I saw a post and it said, your kid, when you're a little kid, right? This is as big as they've ever been and as small as they'll ever be again. And I'm like, oh, wow, mind blowing, right? What a teaser that is. But thanks for your comments and your support. I appreciate you guys, you know, doing that every time you come out for the show. What are we going to do first today? Uh-oh, what's going on? Is my thing not streaming? Did the stream pause for you guys on YouTube? I don't know what's going on here. It says excellent, so I don't know. It looked like it paused. Maybe it's just my viewing paused. I don't know. Sometimes I don't know how this thing works, man, with the encoder and all that. YouTube did something new that I don't know what's going on. Yep, dripping in diamonds, baby. All right, it's good. Okay, anyways, all right. So let's go over. Let's talk about the first thing I wanted to talk about today. Is this like I was watching just streaming on Instagram, and this Worldstar video came up, and it's about this. There was something on C-SPAN that Senator Josh Hawley asked a straightforward question, a yes or no question, and a doctor spent the entire exchange dodging the question. So I thought it was very interesting, and I wanted to talk about it because there's so many different, to me, it's like very nuanced what's going on here in this video. You know, I love, that's my favorite word. If I had to change the name of the podcast, it would be called Nuance. Maybe I should just do that, just rebrand the whole damn thing and call it Nuance. But yeah, this is a very interesting exchange, and I thought we should look at it and talk about it. And it's on Worldstar, so make sure if you want to check that out yourself, you can. But, you know, this was a very interesting exchange about, you know, let's just look at it. I hope you guys can hear it. But let's look at it and see what we got here, okay? Oh, turn this on. All right, there we go. And
a moment ago, do you think that men can get pregnant?
I hesitated there because I wasn't sure where the conversation was going or what the goal was. I mean, I do take care of patients with different identities. I take care of many women. I take care of people with different identities. And so that's where I paused. I think, yeah, I wasn't sure where you were going with that.
Well, the goal is just the truth. So can men get pregnant?
Again, the reason I paused there is I'm not really sure what the goal of the question is.
The goal is just to establish a biological reality. You just said a moment ago that science and evidence should control, not politics. Absolutely. So let's just test that proposition. Can men get pregnant?
I take care of people with many identities, but
can men get pregnant?
I take care of many women that can get pregnant. I do take care of people that don't identify as women.
Can men get pregnant? Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, so then I'll go to the next slide.
Again, as I'm saying.
Okay, so, immediately I had thoughts about it. So one thing is like, just on face value, if you didn't know anything about politics that was going on in the world, that's been going on for the last few years, if you had nothing to do with politics, this would be like a very strange video for you. I often I want to think about this as like, if aliens dropped onto the planet right now, and let's say they've been watching us, not the news media, but they just been kind of getting to know who we are as creatures. I think this would be a weird video if they understood English and they they were like, okay, so what's going on here? So at face value, you would say, why isn't this lady just answering this guy's question? Because it is very politically motivated, even though it's a straightforward question, which I think is unfair to this lady. But at the same time, I think this is what I think. This is the nuance of it. This doctor is not equipped to be in this setting answering questions from a guy like that. That guy is savvy and smart, and he's been in this situation before. He knows how to answer. He knows how to sort of get you in a tongue twister to make you feel a certain kind of way. Not to say that I disagree with what he's saying but I think that if she was a savvier person, she could have just answered by saying, yes, no, I'm saying no. Biological men cannot get pregnant, but I do believe that people can change their, what they think their gender is. And so by that, non-biological, people that identify as a man can also get pregnant. I think that would have been the end of it. But she's obviously not savvy enough in debate to answer this question, so therefore it looks the way it looks. And at the same time, on his side, he knows exactly what he's doing. Like in this moment right here, he got her. You know what I mean? This guy's like, I got you. And then now in his mind, it's like he's exposing the left. He's exposing this ideology that most people don't believe in the way that she's presenting it. And he's like, yes, he's like basking in it, which I think is like, kind of a dick move. But at the same time, it's like, just answer the question. Here's the second slide.
Let me just remind you what you testified to a moment ago. Science and evidence should control, not politics. So can men get pregnant? You're a doctor, I think.
Science and evidence should guide medicine.
Do science and evidence tell us that men can get pregnant?
See, this is the thing. He's got her right here. You know what I mean? This is it's so unfair. Honestly, it's unfair. This is obviously, she's a doctor. This is a smart person, and she's a catch-22. She was called by the other side as an expert witness. And it's like they just threw her out to the wolves, I feel like. And this guy is like, what is that on my shirt? Oh, wow. It's from my couch, a feather. He's got her in it right now. So there's a couple things I want to discuss. It's what do we think about this? What do we think about this exchange? And and part of me agrees with her in the sense of why are you asking me this question? That in itself is political. And in a way that it is, you know what I mean? This guy is really this is you could be as smug as you want in this situation. He certainly is. Cause he's do you hear yourself? And if you're just a casual person and you're just sitting there and you're just kind of if you just was watching, I always say, man, a lot of really important stuff happens on C-SPAN every day and we don't even know. And this is interesting that Worldstar is the place that put this out, considering that all they've been putting out is chicks with big ass booties and weird stuff. So this is one of these things. It's what side are you on this? Because, one side you can look at this and be like, oh, this is a MAGA video. And on the other side could be oh, here's the example of MAGA trying to take away rights of, you know what I mean? That kind of vibe. So it's interesting, but let's keep watching.
Logical men, can they get pregnant?
I also think yes/no questions like this are a political tool. And
no, yes/no questions are about the truth, doctor. Let's not make a mockery of this proceeding. This is about science and evidence, and I'm asking you. The United States Supreme Court just heard arguments yesterday at great length on this question. This is not a hypothetical question. This is not theoretical. It affects real people in their real lives. And you're here as an expert, called by the other side as an expert. And you've been telling us that you follow, right, you're a doctor. and you follow the science and the evidence. So I just want to know, based on the science, can men get pregnant? That's a yes or no question. It really is.
Again, I
think.
I think you're trying to reduce the complexity of a lot.
I'm not. I'm trying to get, it's not complex. I'm trying to get to an answer, and I'm trying to test, frankly, your veracity as a medical professional and as a scientist. Can men get pregnant?
Now that's it right there. Like, that's the dagger right there. And it's like the unfair smugness of this guy and like his ability to get his point across. You know, someone, and let me say this again. I am not questioning this woman's intelligence so much as I'm saying she's not equipped to deal with this. And I'll give you a personal example of this would be like roast battle. Like, I've been asked to do roast battle in the past. They wanted me and Bobby to roast each other, right? And both of us had the same thing, like, nah, no thank you, because that's not my thing. Like, I would need to practice for months. Like, if you wanted me to do roast battle, I think I could be pretty good at it. I don't do it the way these people do it. Like, there's dudes that all they do is roast, and I've seen it. I've judged it. They got their notes, and there's a cadence and a rhythm, and it doesn't take away from you, a person that can't do it like off the cuff. No, because they practice this all the time. That's what they do. They're roast comics, right? So I was like, I don't want to be a part of that because I don't want to get embarrassed. I want to make sure that and I think that that's what's happening in this situation right here. I think this woman is getting embarrassed. This doctor, I should say, is getting embarrassed because she's not equipped to debate a senator of this magnitude, the way he's doing it. And I think she should have checked out already. You know what I mean? Let's keep going.
I think you're also conflating
This is
male
extraordinary.
female with
No, I'm not conflating male and female. They're two different things. There's biological men and there's biological women. And I want to know, can men get pregnant?
what you were talking about is biological.
You're not going to answer
you were
my
saying
question, it sounds like.
Biological males.
This isn't hard, doctor. Can men get pregnant? Yes or no?
Again, I would be more than happy to have a conversation with you that is not coming from a place of trying to be polarized and push.
I'm not trying to be polarizing. I'm trying to ask. I think it is extraordinary that we are here in a hearing about science and about women. And for the record, it's women who get pregnant, I think.
I think you're trying to reduce the.
Not men.
It also.
We are here about the safety of women and science that shows that this abortion drug causes adverse health events in 11% of cases. That's 22 times greater than the FDA label, another fact you haven't acknowledged, and yet you won't even acknowledge the basic reality that biological men don't get pregnant.
I mean, again, I can't stress enough that this guy is like in his bag right now. Like, you know, and the thing is like two or three things can be true at the same time. You know, so you have like, why are you asking this question? Like, I think the context of asking a question is important, whether it's true or false. Just asking a question could be mean, could be rude. You know what I mean? It's like asking somebody like, do you think you look fat in that outfit? You know, it's like, okay, then the other person's like, I think that there's different levels of, weight, and it just depends on, I think, why are you asking? You put somebody in a difficult situation. I think this whole thing could be over, but who knows where he would have went after that? Because I think he was prepared for that too, So, whereas I give her credit for never faltering, because I have a feeling that if she would have said no, biological men cannot get pregnant, he was ready to fire off about it, use that to make a different point. But he could just live in this moment right now of making this point. And the point is very clear. It's like, hey, you're making this about politics. You're making, he's got her in a quandary, and I feel bad for her. But at the same time, I think it's nonsense. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Like, I think it's like, just answer the question,
between biological men and biological women. I don't know how we can take you seriously and your claims to be a person of science if you won't level with this on this basic issue. I thought we were past all of this, frankly. I can't believe we're still here talking about this.
I am a person of science, and I'm also someone here who's here to represent the complex experiences of my patients, and I don't think polarized language or questions serve that goal. I don't think they serve the American people.
It is.
Oh my God, I can't stand that right there. That's victim mentality right there. Oh man. Again, whoever called her as the expert witness, but I think that she was called to be a witness for this abortion drug that they were talking about. And this guy is using this moment to really embarrass the ideology of what's been going on for a few years now with this particular subject. I just think that the most of us, like, if these two people were out at dinner, I guarantee you they would have a different conversation. I guarantee you it would go something like, he would say, like, why are you doing this? Like, what? Like, biological men can't get pregnant. And she would be like, I understand. Of course, biological men can't get pregnant. But I also represent people that, have different viewpoints in the transgender community. And you put me in a spot, and you're making me like I have to talk bad about my patients. And I don't like how you were talking to me. And I think that I bet you they would come to the same conclusions, but that's not what this is. This was on the internet. It's this is a show. They're both showmen at this point right now. So I give her credit for sticking to her guns, just being like, look, I'm not gonna get involved in this. Is what she basically has done this whole time. She's like, I'm not engaging in this. I know you got me, and I'm not gonna give it to you. I mean, it's actually petty. You know what I'm saying? Keep going.
It's not polarizing to not men.
Okay.
Say that there is a scientific difference between men and women, and I want this to be clear and for the record. It is not polarizing to say that women are a biological reality and should be treated and protected as such. That is not polarizing. That is truth. It is also, by the way, the United States Constitution, which offers unique protections to women in a variety of circumstances as women. And your refusal to recognize women as women and men as men is deeply corrosive to science, to public trust, and yes, to constitutional protections for women as women.
Man, I mean, he gave it to her right there, right? I mean, look, like I say, this is something I've said before, and I will say again, being honest does not excuse you from being an asshole. Okay? You don't get to hide behind the shield of truth, and then that means you could say and do and act a certain way to make somebody feel bad or to try to drive your point home, And that goes for all of us, myself included, Being right does not excuse you from being an asshole, But that's just such an interesting conversation that they were having right there that we've been having for the last couple years, And it sucks because I think that, again, without the internet, without the cameras of C-SPAN, if it's just a group of people sitting in a room, and I think we've all had this conversation haven't you had this conversation with your friends, And I think that when you try to have that conversation and people turn that into, you're being anti-trans or you're being anti-this, I think that's just, it's all performative and it's all for clicks when people say that. Now, there are people who are definitely anti-LGBTQZ, whatever the shit is. There are people who are definitely anti that, but I don't appreciate that when you just are trying to talk logical, you're just trying to talk sense, you're trying to talk science, or you're just inquiring about whatever, all of a sudden just bringing it up, just talking about it, you now become, you're anti-trans, you're a MAGA supporter, you're this, and I don't think anyone thinks that you know, just if you just look at the sports aspect of it, there isn't any of us normal people who have no political, we have no political skin in the game. It's just what we think, what our common sense tells us. If a man, a biological man with his body type and the strength and all that decides that I was born the wrong way and now I want to live as a woman, and then they go play sports and they're dominating the women, I don't think that anybody in their right mind could sit there and be like, they think that that's okay. And I think that, and then you just talk about this and people treat you a certain way. And I just think that let's just find a different way. Like, keep the conversation going. Don't make it about like you think I'm hating. No, I'm saying, well, let's figure something else out. And I've talked about this before. This is just like when you go play golf, man. When you go in to play golf, they have a women's tee and a men's tee. Why do they have that? Why do they have a women's tee and a men's tee? Well, because the men smash the ball further than the women do. So they go, okay, well, if they're going to play together, let's handicap this based off that. I think that let's find that. Let's find the middle ground or find something. But again, playing sports, playing in the Olympics, playing in college, that shit is a privilege. It's not a right. You have the right to live however you want. But you don't get the privilege to do the thing that you did before, but now it's different and you have an advantage. It's like, doesn't that seem like the right way to go about it? Or try to figure out a way? Let's figure this out, man. Let's figure this out, You know what I'm saying? It's like, come on. It's just frustrating that it becomes this like political thing. It sucks, So then when you watch something like that and that's not even like a old Charlie Kirk video. You get what I'm saying? That's C-SPAN. That was a Senate hearing or some kind of like, you know what I mean? That was like an important discussion amongst senators and about certain things. So these are how laws are passed and stuff. They always show this stuff on C-SPAN. This wasn't Charlie Kirk at a college talking to some idiot college kids. You know what I mean? Like, just like he already knows he already know, you know what I mean? It was unfair advantage to like move to push a narrative. This was like on a high scale level, and this lady who was like a really prominent doctor did not want to answer this political question. And I think that in itself, that setting was even brought up was a problem. Like, I would totally be okay if later she came out and said, I didn't know that was going to be one of the questions. We were talking about this abortion drug, and this guy came at me about this, and I wasn't ready for that. And I'm sure, I'm sure that her side was sitting on the sideline there. I wish they would have showed them going like this. Oh, God, what did we do? You know what I mean? It's like, that looked like one of those, that looked like a Law and Order type show. Like one of those law shows where, like if that was a law show, that guy would be the good guy, and he would be like talking about beforehand, like, I know how to get her. We're gonna start with this, and then I'm gonna flip it, and we're gonna talk about this, and I'll get her to say what we want. You know what I mean? I don't know how it ended. Maybe like, that probably, because this C-SPAN stuff, man, that should be going like hours, man. You should just turn it on one day. You'll be like, oh, why are they discussing this? It'll be like something super important for society. And you're like, damn. Somebody in the chat says she's afraid of getting canceled. Yeah, that sucks though. So then is being afraid of getting canceled more important than the truth, or more important than common sense, or more important than having like a real, a discourse with the other side that you could come to a mutual agreement, or you can, have some sort of like, it's not casual. What's the word I'm looking for? Where it doesn't have to be so volatile. You know what I mean? Can we have a calm, cool, collected discourse with someone you don't agree with, so you can like maybe learn something you didn't know or get your point across? No, it's just because of the internet, because of podcasting, because of, people making so much money off likes, and like this is like, that's the kind of video. I get why Worldstar put that up, because that's the kind of video that's going to get like, oh man, people are going to be in the comments. I mean, like, that comment section is like, man, you get your popcorn out and you go into that comment section. And look at me. I'm on my podcast thinking, well, maybe if I talk about it, but that wasn't my intent. You know, I hope if you watch me all the time, you know that's not, I don't really think, if I thought about it like that, I'd be doing more stuff like that, and I'd be getting more than, 1,800 views on my episodes. You know what I mean? This is just how I think about it. Give me something to do here, and it just really sparked my interest to see all the complexities of that conversation. That was more than just civil. That's the word I'm looking for. Yeah, can we have a civil discourse between two people? But yeah, it's like, so it was very fascinating to me. Like, that was a really fascinating back and forth between these two people, because for me, it's like I could see all of that, I could see how uncomfortable she was, but at the same time, she held her resolve. She was like, "Nah, you're not gonna get me with this." And then I see how that guy, he was just so smug and just like, he knows that she knows she should answer the question properly. He knows that she even feels that way. But she's like, "Nah, I'm not gonna give your smug ass the answer that you want, because I don't appreciate how you making me feel right now." That's all of the complexities of that I felt between that. Like, that's like they're almost like a married couple in there right there. So that was very interesting back and forth that they didn't even get to, he didn't let her talk to get her point off, and she was refusing to like give him what he wanted. So, you know what I mean? That's politics. That is politics, but hey, it is what it is. Let's move on. But anyways, what else? Oh, yeah, I should have talked about this first, man. Man, I tell you, if you own a house and you in chat, give me a thumbs up, you homeowners out there. And people that don't own homes, don't feel bad. I think it's a West Coast thing. I think it's like, I really feel like when I was growing up in California, in Los Angeles, the thing was to own a home. That's what they say. You want to be a homeowner, and life was different then. Mortgage rates and all this stuff. It was just different. The cost of living, everything was different. So you wanted to own a home, I think. But now that I own a home, I'm like, oh wow, and you don't really own it, by the way. You just go, oh, this is just a flex that you wanted for yourself. This is just one of these feathers in your cap that you did, but it comes with a lot of nonsense. Because I think if you live on the East Coast, if you live in a city like Boston, you live in New York and stuff like that, I don't think owning a home is a thing. Even though you can own an apartment over there, but I don't think I think it's different. I think I don't think there's any shame in being like, I want to rent, I want to hold on to my money, I want to invest it. You start looking at investment things, I think investing people, they don't think it's a good idea to own a home to live in. Wait, I got to get this. I think they're just like, for investing sake, but if it's going to be your primary residence. So here's what I'm dealing with. So I live in Santa Clarita. I live in a new build home. It's a new home, no one's ever lived in it, and you think that's like, oh yeah, that's great. Let me tell you something. It's not always great, because my whole neighborhood, everybody's dealing with something, Like in the attic, there's supposed to be these are the kind of things you got to think about when you own a home that you never thought about before. There's vents. So there's insulation in the attic, but there has to be vents. They got to have these vents to let air circulate. Some weird vents to, water can't get through. You can see them. It's hard to explain, but homeowner people know what I'm talking about, right? Yeah, and then one of my neighbors, their vents are closed. The vents were sealed off in the thing. So now they have stage 3 mold. And part of it's because of that, And so you don't know that that's going to happen. You sitting here like, you're like, oh my God, what's going on? They were getting sick and stuff. And then they figured it out. They had an inspector come, and the guy's like, yeah, well, all your vents are closed. And it's, so you're like, what? Here's my thing. So this is what happened with me. So I live in Santa Clarita, and when we moved in, it was hot as hell. And then the insulation in my house, it's actually pretty great. Even when it's like 105 degrees outside, we don't even have the AC on, and you come in the house, it's cool. It's pretty cool, right? So I'm like, oh, this is great. Because just the way our house is located and the shading that we have with the other houses, it's great, right? So I've never had to have the heat on for an extended period of time for the whole year we've been living here. Now it got cold. It was like a rainstorm the other day. It's freezing. So now I turned the heat on in the living room. Now here's the thing. My office has its own thermostat. this whole area of the house. So I'm using this as my office, and I'm still trying to make this other place a podcast studio. But if I wanted to, this could be like a next-gen suite. You know what I mean? It's got a bathroom and 2 rooms if you wanted to have like your grandparents or somebody move in and you got your own place, right? Anyways. So now this has its own heat. So then the heat stopped working, right? And I don't know what the hell's going on. So then I got my big ass up in the attic, which was not fun. Let me tell you something right now. I got this. Here's another thing too. When you own a home, you got to buy a ladder. You got to buy a ladder. You cannot own a home without a ladder. That's just one of those things. If you don't have a ladder, then you ain't a home. I don't know how you can own a home without a ladder. Okay, just for like changing the air filter. That's another nonsense thing about changing the filters. You know, when they make your house, when they want to cut corners in your house, I'll tell you one of the things they do. They get a cheap furnace heating system where therefore, because the best kind of system is when the air filter is right there and all you do is change this extra strength air filter right in your unit and you take it out and you only got to do that every 6 months. The cheap way to do it is you have these 1-inch filters all over the house because that's where the air is coming from. They're sucking the air up, you know, and they're getting all the air for the AC and the heat and all that stuff, right? So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 air filter things I have to change. And it's 3 different sizes. Okay, anyways. So then I have to call a heating. Now, this is the thing. I'm outside of my warranty. I called a company that installed the system, the AC and the heat. I call this company, right? They tell me, well, you're out of warranty, and we don't actually come out to that area to do service. What? I said, what? She was like, yeah, I know, I'm sorry, but we don't get down there. I was like, are you kidding me? She was like, I know. And I could tell in the lady's voice that she knew this was just some home builder bullshit that they do, you know? So I was like, okay, well, this is nonsense. So then I have to call a separate company. This guy comes, you know, and he goes up into the attic, you know. So here's the thing. I went into the attic and I have 2 furnaces. That's what happens. I have a furnace for the upstairs, which works perfectly, and I have a furnace for the living room and in this area, which is supposed to be a 2-zone furnace. This is like, I'm learning all this now, right? You have a 2-zone furnace. So the guy goes up and he says, well, you got a 1-zone furnace that they tried to make a 2-zone. That's why your thing is messing up. I said, what? Well, what? So even out of warranty, it doesn't matter, right? Because I'm like, they didn't do this right. The guy comes. The guy's like, all right, I'll send you a report. Never sends me a report. I never hear from this guy again because he doesn't want to deal with it, I can see. So then I call I get on the phone with the builder. I'm like, yo, they didn't do this right. So he's telling me like 2 different things. One, if they actually did install the wrong thing, then they can actually go to this company and be like, yo, you didn't do this right. Okay? You said it was this and it's not. But he said, but if this is a thing where it's broken because of you didn't do your regular maintenance or change your filters properly, they can't do anything about it. And I was like, what do you mean regular maintenance? He's like, yeah, well, as a homeowner, you're supposed to do every year, at least once a year, a full flush thing of your system. You're supposed to make sure the coolant is good, make sure the heat is working. You have to do that on your own before you can say anything's wrong. And if you haven't done that, well, you've been there a year, that's going to be on you. And I was like, oh, you didn't say that. That's not in the literature of the, you know what I mean? But that's how they get you. So today I had somebody come because the other guy didn't come. And then she confirmed it. There was a lady. She's up there. She's like, yeah, this is not a 2-zone system. This ain't a 2-zone system. I said, well, can you please take all the pictures and write this out in a report for me? So now we'll see what happens. But what I'm saying is that's not something you ever think about when you own in a house, when you living in an apartment. Ever. It's never a thing, you know? So it's like, you know, but why did I do it? You know, because this is the thing, man. So now I owe $1 million, right? So I owe $1 million to the bank. And you got to pay rent to the state, which is property tax, which they just sent me a thing that it went up. And I was like, what? So you have that, right? And then you have to take care of all the maintenance yourself. I don't know. Is it worth it? You have to ask yourself that, you know? I just think you should really think about it. And then here's another thing, too. people have a weird relationship with debt. Okay. So this is something I saw, and I follow a bunch of financial people on Instagram and stuff, and you have your interest payment, guys, and then you have the principal payment. Principal meaning, like, let's say your house is $1 million. If you pay a mortgage payment in the first few years of this, it's going to be mostly interest payments. So let's say your mortgage is $5,000, you're going to end up paying like $4,000 of that is going to be towards interest, and $1,000 goes to the principal. But you can make principal payments to bring down the thing, right? And I think people do that for peace of mind. People don't want debt. But then I saw this financial person was talking about this, and they were saying, like, look, I know you don't. I know you're worried about because in a 30-year loan, in 10, 15 years, you're ended up paying like double what the house is in interest, between interest and principal. But then the guy was saying, like, but check this out. Instead of paying off your mortgage, instead of paying it off, put all the money that you were going to pay, if you can do this, and this is not everybody can do this, but if you have extra money, don't pay off the mortgage. Start putting all that money away in investment accounts. In your investment accounts, and whatever it is, 401k or whatever long-term investment account. And then in 10 years, basically the point was, you will get more money from the investment account than you would spend on interest. And the money, it works for itself, right? So let's say in 20 years, you've been putting money away that you wanted to put in interest, but you put it all, instead of paying the bank that interest money, you put it all in an investment account for yourself. You might triple that money, quadruple it even, the way the market works. And then you take that money, and then you can pay off your house and still have money. But if you just send, principal payments all the time, the money's not working for itself. I'm no financial expert, and I know I didn't explain that in the right way. But you gurus out there, you know what I'm talking about. Because even some people even say that. Some people say just one extra mortgage payment a year will take 10 years off your mortgage because of the compound interest and everything. So think about it like that. Maybe take all that money you were going to do that, put that sucker in an account. But see, a lot of people need that money. That's what ends up happening. I'm just telling you. Just really look into all this kind of stuff, It's a lot. Anyways. Yeah. You homeowners, let me know your situations. Let me know, like, what little thing that, like, in the comments, give me something like you were like, oh, I didn't know I had to do that. What was the most shocking thing about owning a home for you? Was it the property tax payment? Was it like taking care of the heat, the HVAC? What was it for you? Was it like the lawn? Was it like, man, was it like, oh no, what did you not know that when you got the house, you were like, oh, I wish I would have known this. Maybe it would have changed or maybe it wouldn't. Water leaks. That's another one. Oh my God. Don't even get me started on water leaks. So I actually got this thing called Fume. I have to attach it to like something in the garage, and it keeps track of your, it lets you know if you have a leak because it'll know that more water is coming out than it should. So I have to get that attached. And that actually helps you with your homeowner's insurance. They'll actually lower your homeowner's insurance if you have something like this attached. The guy said a water leak on the second floor of the house. I can't even imagine. I can already see what a nightmare that would be. One of my neighbors, they were like doing some construction in the house, doing some renovations, whatever. And then one of the workers in the renovations, whatever they did, they hit a pipe and didn't know. And they had this slow leak, and then it just burst, and their whole bottom floor of their house flooded. $100,000 floor. Luckily, they were still under warranty. But can you even imagine? Ugh. Anyways, not in these comments, but in the comment of the video, let me know. All right, guys, last but not least, let's just get into some NFL football. Dude, let's make our picks. Let's make our picks. Make your picks now. so we can see what's going on, all right? So you got Bills, Denver. I don't believe in Denver. I think Josh Allen is on a mission. I think this is his year. I'm taking the Bills over Denver. I don't know what the spread is on the game. Actually, I should look that up. Let me see. NFL spreads this weekend. Okay, let's see what we got here. All right, here we go. The odds makers. All right, here we go. Allow. All right, here we go. Let's go on ESPN and see what they got. All right. Okay. Bills. I think the Bills. Yeah, the Bills are favored. Their favorite is the. Oh wow, yeah. I think the Bills are favored by a 1.5. Yeah, I'll take the Bills straight up on that one. San Francisco, Seattle. Seattle's favored by 7. Can Sam Darnold get over the hump, or is this going to be the greatest coaching performance in Mike Shanahan's career? I'm taking Seattle. Actually, you know what? I'm taking Seattle to win the game, but I think the 49ers cover. Houston, New England. That defense last week against the Pittsburgh Steelers was bananas defense. Like, they were running over offensive linemen to get to Aaron Rodgers. That was a crazy defensive performance. You kind of just want, can CJ Stroud just be a little bit of what he was in his first season? But I'm actually taking the Texans in that game. I think the Texans defense, that's just, it's too much, you know? Rams, Bears, man, I'm taking the Rams. They're favored by 4.5, I think. So I think that's gonna be, you know what? I'm taking the Rams to win, but I think Chicago covers. Yeah, so those are my picks for this week. Let me know what you guys got. Put them in the things before it goes. You know what I mean? Before it goes, so that we'll see where we're at with it. But anyways, guys, thanks for being here. I appreciate you guys as always. Make sure you sub. Hit the sub button, y'all, so you know when I'm going live. All right? That's important. Twitch. I'm still doing Twitch, but I'm not just doing Twitch. I'm also doing TikToksic. I'm streaming on TikToksic Live, so you can see me there quite often. And I'm also going to start streaming more to my YouTube channel, Erik Griffin Gaming on YouTube. So, and that's where I try to put those videos. So check me out there too. And then Patreon, thank you. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. And my Patreon people, thank you for being here. As always, you guys are super supportive, and thank you for supporting this show. But that being said, everybody, thanks for being here on Riffin with Griffin. And, you know, I will, audio people, again, thank you. And I'll see you audio guys next week. Yeah, so all you YouTube people, thank you for being here. I appreciate y'all. Make sure you put your comments about house, about what you got in the football, this week's playoffs, and we'll see where it goes from there. And I'll talk to you guys